I look at the shared principles document as a definition, a description of what primary care, what the promise of primary care is, how it should be organized, and what it should deliver.
So one of the charges to Family Medicine for America's Health was to engage key stakeholders in primary care to be able to, what was often called, speak with one voice. So if you're going to speak with one voice, you have to sort of decide as a group, what's the shared values and beliefs that you have with which you're trying to then execute on having that shared voice. The Patient-Centered Primary Care Collaborative was a natural partner because they are already that multi-stakeholder voice. The makeup of the collaborative is just exactly that spectrum of not just clinicians and patients, but also health plans and governments and employers and subspecialty colleagues, all of those folks who could then come together and develop this shared principles document as that platform about which we could then go forward and advocate collectively for needed reform in our healthcare system.
But I really do want to acknowledge the leadership role of FMA Health. They came up with this idea of developing a new vision for primary care.
And I think people really resonated to the opportunity to be part of creating something that was positive and that we could support and co-create together.
Principles may well become a guidepost for the future as to what healthcare should look like. And we can just check them off, does a particular healthcare plan include the shared principles? And I think that's going to be critically important going forward. I think there's such broad support for each component. They make sense. They're not controversial. I think when someone looks at them, they can say, this all makes sense, and this is what our healthcare system ought to be about, particularly with the patient at the very top.
The importance of these 7 shared principles. It's almost like having a common vocabulary. The value of the shared principles is that it took basically the joint principles of primary care and transformed them into today's era, if you will. It's about being more inclusive of all sorts of providers that can be providing primary care in that space and how it relates to patients and families, and that's the power of the shared principles.